Welcome back to No Hair, All Heart. I am your host and author, Mookie Spitz, reading from his new novel, Jonnie, Fazoolie, and the Transfinite Reality Engine. This is pod number 13. Lucky 13. Extinction level event. Jonnie's tall, lanky, chromosome 15, position 15q21, mutated FBN1, failed fibrillin 1 inelastic Marfan body, is hurting like a motherfucker, crumpled inside a black wrought iron deck chair. In times like this, after doing stupid shit like that, he just wants to stay until he passes out from his own guilt and stupidity, or gets rescued by somebody sexy, rich, and infinitely forgiving. Since he's yet to ever meet such a person, let alone have them save his ass from his own bad attitude, avoidable mistakes, and boundless arrogance, Jonnie sighs and pulls himself together. The view from his comped VIP room is stunning. On one side, the blazing blue Gulf of America. On the other, the jungle green Yucatan Peninsula, 300 kilometers from impact. 65 or so million years ago, a space rock about 6 miles across hit at over 45,000 mph, resulting in the immense Chicxulub crater. Bada bing, bada boom. He visualizes cataclysm. The flash! Blast equivalent to 1 trillion tons of TNT, ripping open the atmosphere, inducing magnitude 11 quakes and mile-high tsunamis. Fazoolie fucking in Phuket. A big fail in comparison. Tektites rained down across the planet. Global fires were ignited. The entire planet was enveloped in a shroud of dust and sulfurous aerosols as worldwide temperatures dropped by 30 to 50 degrees. The Earth plummeted into cold and dark for months, years. Over 3/4 of all species annihilated. Humanity's ancestors, shrew-like creatures scurrying around, survived. And here we are. Numerous mass extinctions shifted the course of life on Earth throughout its 4 billion plus year history. Fazoolie, just shy of 30, fears his own micro-extinction. Hasta la vista, baby. Obsessed by dinosaurs since he was a junior Fazoolie Jr., Jonnie's plastic toy collections and his idle speculation are his ongoing homage to supersized creatures dethroned by fate. His own life, a wildly oscillating roller coaster ride of manic ups and depressive downs, he worships the idea of absolute dominion swapped in an instant by billions of chicken dinners. What might have happened had the asteroid or comet not hit? Jonnie thinks counterfactual conditionals are cool because they imply, no matter how bad things seem, they could be far worse. He also delights in thinking through possibilities, which in turn imply, no matter how good things seem, they could always be much better. He can't hit his head if the ceiling doesn't exist. Human history is written by the winners. The same rules apply for biological history. Homo sapiens ruled the roost because the world turned to fire and ice, domesticating Gallus domesticus. Okay, what if the dinosaurs didn't go extinct? And rather than those shrews evolving into Newtons and Hitlers, one of their species developed language, became sentient, built things. Geeking out, especially through such pointless speculation, helps him process his own uncertainties. If dinosaurs ruled and pigs flew, then might Jonnie someday turn things around? Freshly fucked and flown the coop, Fazoolie calms down long enough to plot his next mission. He checks his fake, pre-owned Rolex Daytona, relieved to see his 24-hour casino ban is over. Since everything Jonnie has done his entire life has led him to this moment when he's broke, loveless, and being pursued by loan sharks, banks, lawyers, and the feds, he has nothing to lose. And since the only direction from rock bottom is upward, he normalizes his chaotic life's unit vector out the front door and toward the main lobby of the hotel, seeking change in scenery. Leaving Mamacitas behind and his BS still snoozing next to her, Jonnie returns to the casino. He makes an executive decision to dial down the Special K and ratchet up the crystal meth. What Jonnie lacks in competence, he more than makes up for in incompetence, a special talent instantly recognized by pit bosses, dealers, slot supervisors, servers, and trigger-happy hookers. Welcome back with applause and jeers. Jonnie bows, waves to his dopamine-deprived peers. At the spinning roulette table, he squeezes between a Brazilian porn star and Taiwanese chip lord. Broke Jonnie watches the adult film actress throw down across the board while the chip mogul bets only on Fibonacci numbers, matching his original bet after every win, doubling at every loss. I see what you're doing there, nods Jonnie. Why don't you play? Asks the semiconductor king. I'm waiting for the wheel to hit zero. Before or after you bet. The house always wins. That makes no sense. Look into my eyes. Hola, gato, leers the adult actress. The strange stare down freaks the microprocessor tycoon out, who's accustomed to weirdos but feels like Fazoolie is cramping his style. The acclaimed actress licks Jonnie's neck and cackles. Tu es un garrote alto, winks the movie star. Haven't I seen you somewhere before? Wonders Jonnie. His credit shot and too busted to play, fucked out by Mamacita, Jonnie is bored and agitated. Distraction, usually his reliable salve, further stresses him out, leaving him nowhere to run. Uvenci! Screams the AVN award winner, delirious with joy. She's lifted onto the shoulders of the blushing billionaire who continues playing his Fibonacci strategy with mixed results. The crowd cheers, hoping their luck and licentiousness are contagious. The starlet is thrilled, jiggling her jugs out of an already provocative deluxe double-strap chainmail bikini top. AC Doocy, someone shouts. Can I have your autograph? Asks a fan. Sure, grins Jonnie, the actress who's already created quite a stir, giving him the hairy eyeball. The fan, frustrated and feeling cock-blocked, the chip tycoon relieved, Jonnie gives up and goes. Fazoolie's favorite times are the in-between moments, the porous boundaries, complex singularities, and chaotic regions that separate over by here from over by there, as they say in Chicago. Changing things up, whether what he happens to be doing this second or his entire feckless life, recalibrates Jonnie's brains, triggers that burst of dopamine needed to get him on through. Flamboyantly flaring, dramatically shifting gears from narcotic hallucination to adrenaline overload, his appetite annihilated, sleep long deprived, Jonnie craves a rejuvenating jolt of caffeine. Now, this section was rather short, and just in terms of annotated author backstory, the book obviously was a work in progress, evolving over many, many months. And my conscientious goal was to create bite-sized nuggets of goodies that could be read in one sitting, going from over by there to over by here, as I would say, also from Chicago. And as the book evolved, I moved a few things around. I had sections that got unwieldy long. Other ones ended up on the shorter side, like this one. This episode is, or at least has become, an interregnum of sorts between Jonnie, to summarize, going to Cancun after being evicted from his Chicago high-rise penthouse to ostensibly regain access to his crypto wallet. So as I described in the earlier section, just to remind and level set, and in a sense, make the most of the time on this podcast, Jonnie bought 555 Bitcoin back when it was $5.55 in 2011. Unfortunately, Jonnie was Jonnie, and he can't access it. So he has made contact with one of the dark web's shadier characters, somebody by the name of Sato, who has promised, after Jonnie forwarded him the last of his money, to give hacking into his wallet a shot. Now, Jonnie was skeptical of this from the very beginning because doing so, especially remotely, seems pretty much impossible. But this Sato guy is mysterious and apparently has done amazing wonders for both good and evil. So Jonnie agreed to meet him physically in Cancun, which in and of itself is also suspect. So he flies from Chicago to Mexico. And as he lands, he discovers that this hacker has been kidnapped by Somali pirates, no less. And that sent Jonnie into a tailspin of panic, realizing that despite his best efforts hustling people and being a con man for years, he's stone cold broke, he's homeless, and his last resort here seems to not only be a far-fetched idea, but one that just became even more out of reach. So his reaction to situations like that is to do what he normally does and goes nuts in the casino in Cancun. He loses the little money that he does have, making him in even worse shape. And by this point in the narrative, we've gotten to meet him, hopefully like him. He's a huge loser and a liar and a thief. But there are likable aspects, and we've noticed that he does attract people with his woo. But by page 80 or so, he's already tanked completely, and he's in a state of dire panic, only getting worse. So, insult to groin injury, his transgendered escort literally just kicked him out of his own VIP penthouse and knocked him onto the balcony. And as he recovers, he looks out and he sees the natural beauty of where he's at. And Jonnie has this dinosaur fetish. He's got a collection in his penthouse, which has since been repoed. But he is a dinosaur fan because they ruled the roost. And by sheer want of circumstance, were dethroned. Jonnie likes that sense of dominion, but also that sense of vulnerability and helplessness, and he can relate to it. And as a spoiler alert, a principal character whom Jonnie will meet, someone who will become his ultimate frenemy, is, drumroll please, an evolved dinosaur. So there's method to the madness here. I feed the reader these little nuggets of foreshadowing. Astute readers will also begin to notice that artifacts and images and thoughts and feelings and dreams from Jonnie's life become manifest in this encroaching, increasingly fantastic science fiction world. So this is deliberate, spoon-fed at first, and then becoming increasingly more prominent as Jonnie heads toward designing and ultimately developing ellipsis, the Transfinite reality engine. So this pit stop here, Jonnie's own pit stop, is a segue from all of these shenanigans to meeting another principal character in the book. And rather than tack that vitally important section onto this one, I'm going to do another reading tomorrow that gets us launched with the introduction to the sexy scientist who triggers the idea in Jonnie's big, blonde, stupid head of the Transfinite reality engine. So hold your horses and your dinosaurs for tomorrow's reading. Thanks again for listening. Whether you're listening in sequence or out of sequence, I really conscientiously worked hard to make every 3-line paragraph in this book stand alone, sharing an idea, an emotion as clearly written as I could to keep the momentum going, keep your interest, and also make it a fun as hell write for me to do, knowing that if the author is thrilled by their own mirror reflections and silliness and ruminations, then so will the reader. Like, comment, share. I'll be back tomorrow.